your pals and mine, the great Ken Matthews and Todd Herman, coming up in the course of the week. Rush will be back to close things out before the end of this week, and you know, God knows what things will be like then, but we're in an accelerated news cycle these days, so he's not, whatever it is we're talking about, he's going to be talking about something else, because this thing is moving fast. Thank you for all your mega dittos and mega prayers. If you want to send a message to Rush, he really does read them, and he treasures them, and he has a unique connection built up over a third of a century with millions and millions of people. Not many people can say that. Not many people can say that at all. Most celebrity withers and dies within 18 months, 2 years. It's very rare for it just to keep going decade after decade the way Rush does. And as someone said, the day after Rush announced his lung cancer, and I was sitting here, and someone tweeted or emailed me and said, Rush is the best friend I've never met. And that's how millions and millions of people feel. You can go to rushlimbaugh.com, and it's the third button along at the top of the menu bar, and you can send Rush a special message. And I know a lot of people said to me, well, I don't want to just send him a message. I've done like a greeting card or a photograph of, we've got a photograph of my Club Gitmo gear or whatever. You can upload anything like that. There's also a little facility for you to upload a GIF or a JPEG or any of that kind of stuff, and that will get to Rush. If you go to rushlimbaugh.com and just, it says the Rush Limbaugh Show in huge letters, the masthead, and there's a little horizontal menu bar above that, and you just chink along to the third button, and you can send Rush a special greeting there. I mentioned the Surgeon General, Dr. Jerome Adams, Surgeon General of the United States, said we're at a critical inflection point in our country. And I just want to go back to that question we were discussing from Vic as to why China, where this thing started, appears to have it under control and is down to just, you know, dozens of new cases every day. And this is a country with many times the population of Italy. And I had someone, by the way, Ginger Frappuccino, I think, tweeted at me that she didn't like my comparison. But what's going on in Italy is comparatively four times the rate of 9/11. She didn't like that, and she thought it was irresponsible of me to keep saying it. And she said because those 2,700 people have died in Italy. Italy has a population of about 60 million, America 300 million. So you multiply it by 5 and you get the relative proportions. She doesn't think that's the way to do it. She says 2,400 people died in New York versus 2,700 died in Italy. I mean, this is sophistry, and frankly it's stupid, obnoxious and offensive. You know, most of those people who've been overwhelmed come from northern Italy. In fact, most of them come from Lombardy, which is I'm just going off the, forgive me if I'm wrong here, I'm going off very approximate memories here, but my memory is that Italy, New York basically is just shy of 20 million people, New York State, and Lombardy has about 10 million, right? So actually, as a practical matter, Ginger Frappuccino, that's if you want to start comparing province to province, state to state, we can do it that way, and you still lose in whatever points you think you're making here. But that's not how people think about it. Americans get upset. This is a natural human thing. Americans get upset when Americans die, and don't actually pay too much attention when Somalis die, or Tajiks die, or Tuvaluans die. That's, as I said, people get tribal in crisis. So what mattered on 9/11 was that America died. That's why it wasn't just on Eyewitness News Channel 27 in New York. It was a national story. And likewise, 2,100 people dying in Italy, even in just northern Italy, even if predominantly in Lombardy, is a huge Italian story, because just like Americans care when Americans die, Italians care when Italians. Now, if you don't care when Italians die, that's fine. That's fine. There's 200 countries in the world, and most people care about the people that they see when they look out the window. But the time to care about when foreigners are dying is when something is coming your way. When you're just, as the Surgeon General in the United States said, you're just a little further along the same trajectory. And so far, all the trajectories, and you can look at this, there's graphs out there, all the trajectories for Italy, Spain's following the same curve, it's like everybody is doing the same cross-country trail, just a few hundred yards behind each other. And we're 2 weeks behind Italy. That's what the Surgeon General of the United States said. And that in itself is a snapshot, because basically we have a 2-week incubation period, so that whatever numbers you're working on, in the old days you couldn't take a photograph on your telephone. You had to take it with a Kodak Instamatic, and then you had to take it on film to a camera shop, and 2 weeks later the camera shop said your prints are ready for collecting, and you got a snapshot of whatever was going on 2 weeks ago. That's actually what these numbers are like. They're in themselves 2 weeks behind the curve. But I want to go back to what Vic was saying as to why the Chinese have apparently, officially, been able to get this thing under control. Now, the first thing to be said is that everything the Chinese Politburo tells the world is a lie. It might be a lie that trends in the direction of the truth, or it might be an outright inversion of the truth. But it is not the truth. It is whatever number they are releasing is whatever number the Politburo has agreed is useful to the Politburo. But assuming for the purposes of argument that what they're saying trends in the direction of the truth, that they have got this thing under control, to the point now where they're saying it was invented by the Americans and the Americans planted it in China. That's what they're doing right now. And at some point, you've got to bet this is going to happen in the next week or 2 weeks. If their numbers should go back up again, they'll be blaming it on an Italian or a Spaniard or an American flying back into Shanghai or Beijing and reinfecting the Chinese. So any moment now, they're going to be starting to blame not just America for inventing it, but some European for bringing it back to China, because they lie.